I always tell people about that famous sermon I preached, how beautiful on the mountains at the foot of those feet, those who proclaim the gospel, and you were a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And after I preached it, you said, but so what? The sermon would have, congregation like it would have made an A in seminary.
Right.
But it had no relevance factor.
Right.
So I hear that.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that? My name is William D. Watley, and I'm privileged to be the co-author for the book Like Father, Like Daughter, interpretation, meditations, reflections on father and daughter relationships in the scriptures.
And I'm Jennifer Watley Maxell, the other co-author. One word. I would say
Profanity not allowed.
I would say, what would I say? One word would be paradox. Paradox. Because even though you are not the pastor, you're not the minister, people still have an expectation of you and who you are and what you're going to be like and how you're going to respond. And even though that pressure didn't, for me at least, come from my parents or my family, I was still very aware of the fact that people were looking at what I was doing and what I would say and things like that. But at the same time, I was fortunate because we didn't live near our church, so I didn't go to school with like people that went to church and everything. So I had a very normal existence. So it was kind of weird how, Monday through Friday, Saturday in South Brunswick, I was just another person in school. And then Sunday would come and you're Reverend Watley's daughter. And so, you go from being nobody at all to somebody and then back to nobody. So, yeah, I would say paradox.
Yeah, my father was a preacher also, so I was raised up as a preacher's kid. And fortunately, my parents allowed me to live as normal of a life as possible. We did live right next door to the church. And I did go to school with the children of my father's parishioners. But my parents were able to let me live as normal of an existence as possible. I remember once when they were having a program at church, and they had a high school dance. And I went to the high school dance. And I came to church after the dance was over, or, according to my curfew, dance was over. And this member tried to upbraid me, like, you going to a dance, etc. And my mother just simply said, leave my child alone. So I think growing up as a preacher's kid sensitized me to not put undue pressure on my own children because of the vocation that to which the Lord had called me.
I actually just looked at this a couple days ago. So for 2016, I did a vision board as part of the Ellipsis experience. We did vision boards that year. And on the vision board, I put a picture of a well-known minister and his daughter that I cut out of a magazine. And I simply thought, I would like to do something with my dad. And just over time, God just gave me this vision to write a book together. He's written books with several other people. And so it was definitely something that I knew was kind of in his wheelhouse. This is my first book co-authoring. And then just as God just bought the vision, God just gave me the whole thing, fathers and daughters, to look at fathers and daughters in the scripture. I did some research to see if there were materials out there already, and I couldn't find anything that was like this. So, between just the vision and then doing the little research to see what we could do to make our offering different, I realized that just the subject matter alone and the fact that we are father and daughter would make the project unique. And then, just like he was saying with scripture and everything we do, we want to make it relevant. And so, in addition to the meditations, to really tell the stories of fathers and daughters in real time. Because I think particularly in the Black community, we don't really talk about father-daughter relationships. And we do have fathers who are in their daughters' lives, who are, raising their daughters in the household. And we do have fathers who may not have been there in the household, but still were that father figure. And we do have father figures who, even though they weren't the fathers. So I think there's just, it's a relationship that is so paramount and so prevalent, but we don't talk about it at all. So as I kind of started thinking through all of those things, I got really excited about the possibility of what we can
do. It was really, and it was her idea. I was excited about the possibility of writing with her, but for me, it opened up a whole new dimension of the scripture that I had never looked at before. I've been preaching now. I'm in my 53rd year of trying to preach. I started when I was 6 months old, and and I had read and preached about various father-daughter relationships, but I had never looked at the whole area of father-daughter relationships in Scripture. And for me, it just opened up a whole new world. And after you've been preaching the gospel for a while, you really want some fresh perspectives. And this was such a tremendous perspective that now my frustration is, what do we do for volume 2? And how, and she's already given me one idea, but how do we then begin to really unpack and look at other scriptures in a whole new light?
So my dad and I, our birthdays are 5 days apart. And I say that to say that we have a lot of similarities in terms of our personalities and, just our dynamics and how we do things. But we are two different people. And so, that looks very different. And it's been a long time since we've done anything this involved, over time with all these pieces. And, while my dad has written many books before, my vision was more to do the website and, to have us on the cover and, do a media launch and all these different things. And so I was kind of bringing a lot of that element and contacting our contributors and things. And so it started out great. And, we got going and everything. And then, life got busy like we stalled out a little bit. Then we came together and we said, okay, are we going to do this? Yes, let's go ahead and make this happen. And so then we both got focused. Well, for me, my greatest area of insecurity was the actual writing. Because it's one thing when you're writing and you're preaching, but it's another thing when you're writing and you're just putting it out there. People are going to read and, they can interpret as they want. And so once we started getting further down into the process, I was trying to get my writings out. And we had one particular time where, of course, his stuff was done like way ahead of time. And I had written some of mine ahead of time, but as I went back to read them, I started editing. And, you start rewriting and the whole nine. And so I was behind. And just circumstances, he texted me like on a Friday I didn't get the text till late, and then he called. I was asleep. I missed the text. So the next morning at 7:00 a.m., I get a ring on the doorbell. And Charles, my husband, is downstairs in his pajamas like, who's ringing the doorbell at 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning? As soon as I heard the doorbell, I was like, that is William D. Watley right there. And so he came in and he sat in this chair in the family room, and Charles came upstairs and got me, and I come downstairs. And it was hilarious because I'm in my house where my 3 kids are, where I pay mortgage. And when I say I felt like I was 10 years old all over again, and I hadn't even done anything. I wasn't even like on punishment or anything. And so it was just like this quintessential experience of like, wow, we've done all this stuff, and yet here we are right back where we started. But it's been really great. My dad is very disciplined, and he's very intense, and I have a whole new respect for that. I'm not disciplined or intense like that. And so, just learning how to kind of ratchet up my process and intensify my process. And I think him learning how to kind of back off a little bit and let me was kind of the tension. But overall, I would say I think it's been a great experience overall.
Yeah, well, about the fact that we're still sitting here, that says it's been a learning experience.